he's alive, trying to get a better deal for himself, but it's not going to work. This case, by any other judge, this case would have been over a long time ago. We did nothing wrong, and that's been proven. Thank you.
Donald Trump was about to go into court yesterday, and he has some more folks that have flipped on him. They're testifying in his face. In particular, this particular court case that he's going to talk about was the one about deflating and inflating his assets. So he's got to defend himself on that. And one Michael Cohen, who worked with him, the fixer, who's been detached from him since early in his presidency, he was there talking about what it is he experienced and what Donald Trump told him. This is what he told him. Let's go from these reports from NBC News. He says, let me just turn around and say that this is not about Donald Trump versus Michael Cohen or Michael Cohen versus Donald Trump. This is Michael Cohen talking. This is about accountability, plain and simple. And we leave it up to Judge Engoron in order to make all the determinations on that. So I thank you all for coming. Great intro. I think he feels like he's on a court show or something. That's how these guys operate. But still, he had some real stuff to say. This is what he was talking about. He says, I was tasked by Mr. Trump to increase the total assets based upon a number that he arbitrarily elected. That's what he testified, saying that he and former Trump finance chief Alan Weisselberg labored to, quote, reverse engineer the various different asset classes, increase those assets in order to achieve a number that Mr. Trump asked us. And asked what that number was, Cohen replied, whatever number Trump told us to, because that's how money works. That's how assets work. That's how declaring your assets before you get maybe loans or even maybe insurance kickbacks or breaks over it. More from that, because he also testified that Trump would summon him and Weisselberg to say, for example, I'm actually not worth $4.5 billion. I'm really worth more like 6. Does this sound similar to the beef he had with Forbes for not putting him on the 400 wealthiest list for the second out of 2-3 years because he's just mad about what it looks like? So he thinks inflating my assets is a normal thing. I mean, who doesn't do that? It's normal stuff. A little bit more. Cohen said that he and the finance chief would then inflate the value of Trump properties by pegging them to, quote, comparable real estate that was actually different. There were brand new developments with higher ceilings, more sweeping views, and no rent regulation, for instance. Insurance company executives were shown the exaggerated statements where the combination of extremely high values and low liabilities could net Trump more favorable premiums. Again, that's what Cohen testified that he was dealing with him as well. First thoughts here, Muz.
Well, let me just start by saying that Donald Trump put the ass into assets, okay? That was easy. That was an easy one.
Layup, bro.
Layup, thank you.
But you finger rolled it. I like you put something extra on it.
Just like that, just a little bit. I love this. I mean, if there's anything with all the doom and gloom that's going on in the news these days, I get a lot of schadenfreude from watching Donald Trump just have people flip on him and then watch him seething as he goes in and out of court and giving these little press conferences or whatever you want to call them. I love the fact that Michael Cohen Michael Cohen has his show Mea Culpa. I've actually been on it a couple of times, and it's great. He goes hard after Trump, and it's great to have somebody who was there, who's got the receipts. I mean, obviously the only issue is that now Trump's defense is going to try and say that Cohen is disgruntled and that he had lied and all that other stuff. So that doesn't help, but there's just so much evidence. And already, by the way, Trump's been found guilty on this. So it's, I remember, if you remember, like I right before the real estate crash, I remember running into somebody who was like, yeah, I just bought a house for 0 down. And a lot of mortgage brokers were doing things where they would be like, how much do you make? And someone would say, oh, I make 50,000. All right, we'll put 75. They were exaggerating, and that was happening with a lot of people, and it caused a big problem. But nobody was exaggerating by $2 billion. I mean, I'm sure some people were, but this guy's the master of it. And the fact that he was doing, that it would go higher for the loans and it would go lower for the taxes. I mean, he's just a criminal, and it's very much like, I remember, again, in high school, we had a friend, this guy we'd play basketball with, and if he wasn't winning, he'd take the ball and walk away.
Jeez.
And so that's Donald Trump. He's like, it's my rules, everything's fine, I never did anything wrong, it's a witch hunt, but it's all coming back, and it's so fun to watch, Jayar. I could watch this stuff all week long.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.